All right, everybody. Hey, this is Bridgette Dolgoth, and I'm here with my friend Lori from Canada. Anyway, I was going to have Lori on my radio show, but it just didn't really happen because I, quit. I was done with my radio show. So we wanted to do a Zoom. I asked her to do a Zoom thing. So a lot of times, when you have a patient, or you work on people, there's a lot of confidentiality that has to take place. So, and we'll tell you all about that. But so, we couldn't really talk about this until recently when we knew, like, we're in the clear, right? So we had to protect somebody's identity. All right. So years ago, when I was younger in my 20s, I would go up to Canada like 2 or 3 times a year, and I'd actually work on people. And then I stopped for a long time, and then my sister moved to Canada in British Columbia with her husband, and he ended up dying. So she came back to the United States. Well, during that cleanup, the area I used to go to help people heal was the same area my sister and her husband moved to. So I could like reconnect with people. So in 2000, I'm watching Lori breathe. So in 2010, I had to go up and help my sister move out of Canada and kind of clean up the mess, so because her husband was killed, murdered, we don't know, died. But he was in Canadian SWAT, so he could have, been a target for any reason. So while I was there, I was working on people, and Lori knew me from this is kind of the moment we actually really kind of became friends, huh? Where we kind of really got to know each other. Anyway, so she called me and asked me, if I could help her son, Nate. And because of, and I'll have Lori tell the story of what happened to Nate. And I said, sure, like bring him over and let's just take a look at him and see what's going to happen. And so this was, I think, around October, like 2010. So we've kept the secret this long. And so I wanted her to come on because I rarely get to actually talk about my work because it's confidential. So I'm not one of those people that, has all these grand testimonies of cures of recovery because I keep my people confidential. So, and I try not to, expose them or expose their stories. So anyway, so go ahead and tell us what originally happened to Nate, like how old Nate was and what happened to him.
Okay. Well, my son, when he was 9 years old, was gone camping and was opening a bundle of firewood, and it had like a tie strap around it. And he took a small pocket knife and put the knife in to pull it, and it went up and into his eye. He ended up getting, in total, what did he have, 9 eye surgeries. He never regained his sight again, but they were able to maintain his eye, keep his eye. And I can give you a little show of a picture here now, if we can kind of, let me see if I can angle it. How would I do that? There. Can you see that? So you can see he's got 6 stitches across his eyeball. The surgeons did an amazing job. I don't know how they managed to keep the eyeball there, but they filled it with oil and kept it. So we had Bridgette come up because my son was a hockey player, and that was his love, his passion. That's all he wanted to do. But when you have with one eye, it's a little difficult to do anything really besides hit the goal. So anyways, we had Bridgette come up because we were told about the magical things she could do, and she came up, and it was amazing. She did whatever she does, and used her hands and energies, and right after she was finished, he could sit there and throw a ball and catch it perfectly. And from that day forward, he went on to have an incredible hockey career. He played for 17 years. He's just finally aged out. So that's why we can talk about it now, because we kept it a secret through his hockey career so nobody would blindside him, literally, and go after him. So it's been wonderful. It's been hard to not say it to anybody, that nobody could know that what Bridgette did, because without her realigning his brain so he could see it, I kind of think of it as like when you close your eye to shoot a gun or something, you get that straight focus. Well, she managed to, I don't know what she did, but he could see, he could focus. And he scored over 100 goals in his career. And
yeah, no,
amazing.
And so we didn't know if he was going to go to college hockey, and we didn't know if he was going to go pro. We didn't know what he was going to do. And we couldn't tell anybody, because if they knew he only had one eye that he could see out of, he wouldn't have been able to play hockey. So that's the reason why we had to actually hide it. And so what I did was I just rebooted him and worked on him. And because he was young, it was easy to reset his brain. And the brain just worked through one eye. Like, it just resolved everything and brought the 2-eye vision, peripheral, everything into one eye. And then he was able to, nobody ever knew. He was so
well,
good. And he was always one of the top players. And we would laugh because, I mean, there's a couple of times Lori almost got caught because she was like, you know, saying things on Facebook. And so she had to like pull back because, you know, we couldn't actually have him exposed. So, but yeah, and he's like, then, you know, he's done just super well. And so he has like kind of a glass eye in the one side now, right?
Yeah, well, this is how we kind of kept the secret from everybody as well. I had a prosthetic eye built for him, and it's just amazing. And doctors would look at it and actually say it's Hollywood, because they could not tell that it wasn't real. And what happened was I had told one of my closest friends on a Sunday that he had gotten this new shell made. We were at a hockey tournament when he was about, I guess he was 11, the shell was made. So she went to a party on a Wednesday and told all the people, because he knew there was a group of kids that would remember the accident and would rat him out and tell people that he had it. So she went to this party and she said, it's a miracle, Nate can see again. And on the Friday, she died in that same week. So that
is weird.
That kept the secret entirely, because she told everybody he could see again. And I said, then we just agreed with it. Yeah, he can. And so that kept the secret. And him being so aligned anyways, nobody would know, because he used to wear glasses. And this was our one of our favorite lies that we would tell. Everybody go, oh, is your son going to wear contacts when he, you know, plays hockey, starts hitting in hockey and stuff? And I said, well, you know, he doesn't need glasses. Well, he always wears glasses. And I said, well, yeah, because he's got a glass fetish, because he had like Dolce & Gabbana, Ralph Lauren, all these fancy glasses. So we use that as the lie as well. I said, some kids collect sneakers. My kid likes to wear glasses. I don't know. So that was another way that we kept the thing alive, because they just couldn't believe, you know, that he could see and everything was just fine. So we just kept that.
They were right. I mean, there's, you know, under, you know, normal circumstances, but yeah, no, and it was super awesome to actually, you know, be a part of it. And Nate's thriving now, and he's doing so good, and he's like on his own. And yeah, so it was a non-workable eye at all. I mean, the whole eye was actually gutted because of the way that the knife went in, and it just totally damaged the whole eye. And like Lori said, they just put oil in it and stitched it up, so that actually kind of pushed out. Some of the parts were still there, and then later on had, you know, a full Hollywood glamour eye to replace it, right? Because he wasn't a candidate for a cadaver because there was so much damage, right?
Well, no, they can't do an eye change. Like they can't, you can't get a fake eye.
Oh, you can get the retina part.
Retina and the cornea or whatever, and the lens or something like that, but you can't do the whole eye, because the eye is connected to the optical nerve in your spine.
And the other thing too is that, you know, initially, like where Lori was talking to me is, you know, we hooked her up with a stem cell guy that did embryonic stem cells, and Lori went to go talk to some people about it. But they said that, you know, Nate doesn't really have an eye to recover. And so even the embryonic stem cells wouldn't work because their parts weren't there. So there wasn't anything there. So that's how, you know, bad Nate's eye was. But I gave it to him, fixed him up, and he was like a totally different guy, because he didn't have all that trauma, you know. And, you know, he kind of had, because of the stuff that had happened to that eye and all the surgeries, you know, he just kind of had this natural thing, you know, like pull away. So we had to fix all that and reconnect it so it didn't have all that stress and trauma and drama in his face and head. And you know, it's amazing to me, you know, I think, you know, like, you know, would Nate have even been able, do you think, to play hockey as well as he played?
I don't believe so because, well, that was kind of the thing too that I could argue against people because people would say, oh, well, I hear your kid only has one eye. And I'd be like, well, then how does he have depth perception? Oh, how did he just score that goal? Yeah. Because when you have one eye, you lose your depth perception. That's the
Right.
when you have lost your sight. But we always used to tell them too that, you know, like really you've only lost 20% of your vision because when you close your eye, you're only losing, you know, like a certain amount. So I like to just reinforce into him as well that you're not completely blind. You only lost 20%, right? So
Yeah.
just to keep it his spirits high. But once you did your magic there, it he just
Yeah.
was able to just maintain, go on with his life.
And the good
And
news is he was so young, because not a lot of people, you know, like animals do super well. Sometimes I just need to go out, even in the worst case scenarios, you know, do just a couple, you know, some work on them, and they do super good and thrive for months and months and months. Or adults, you know, it's a lot harder to actually correct people. And one of the things that I do was on the brain. And this, you know, particular technique used with a lot of other stuff actually has been shown in a 2-year European study to actually arrest disease as well, to help the body actually start to recover, you know, from anything. So yeah, so I'm super excited, and I'm not going to keep Lori too long. And I just, you know, wanted people to know that, you know,
it's
there
been
are
a long time waiting to be able to say it.
well, another thing too is, like, if Lori wouldn't have, you know, come in, you know, I would have had direct contact with her and her son at that point in time. We probably wouldn't had a 10-year, you know, friendship. And we've, both of us have been through hell and back, but, and so, you know, we're also friends on the side. And so it's harder too when, you know, the person's your friend and you have this story, you know, it's easier to slip. So, but we did no slipping, nobody knew.
No
And
slipping. 12 years and no slipping.
yeah,
Well
yeah,
done, Gasafa.
yeah. So anyway, thanks, Lori, for coming on and talking, and appreciate it. And so great that you found that picture of what his eye looked like, because it was pretty gnarly. But yeah, and I'm glad. I'm glad he's happy and he's doing what he wants to do at this point in time. So, all right, everybody, thanks so much.
Thank
And
you.